Picture this. You're sitting with your friends, other moms who have gone through a divorce or are contemplating, who maybe didn't picture their lives co-parenting, but are there with you. You're sharing your stories, you're inspiring each other, validating and challenging each other through your shared experiences. You're belly laughing, tearing up, and enjoying your favorite cup of coffee all at the same time. You don't judge each other, you empower each other to continue on your journey, to heal, and to just be you, whatever that looks like. Welcome to Co-Parenting and Coffee. Thank you for joining us. We are both co-parenting and are excited to have you as part of our journey.
We're back.
Hello, we're back.
Hello. Oh, this episode is going to be so good. I'm never nervous doing episodes, but we were both so nervous.
I was more nervous about this one than telling my own story.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know. I don't know if it's like my Catholic upbringing or the fact that my mom listens to this. Hi, mom.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Hi, Mom.
or what, but yeah, just definite like anxiety and like I don't know,
Uncomfortable. Or
very uncomfortable.
fear of being uncomfortable. It really, I think,
Well, it wasn't uncomfortable because Blue is such a calming presence,
yes,
and
agreed.
I can only imagine the how helpful she is to her clients.
Agreed.
Um, but yeah, going into this, you and I were both like,
We're.
maybe this one should have had wine instead of coffee.
Ooh, we should do that.
I'm up for that.
We should definitely do an
I
episode.
have some
Well, I don't
ideas.
know. Well, we can edit it.
I have some ideas. We'll talk after. Um, so yeah, we're talking about sex and intimacy and what that could be like for someone who maybe hasn't gone down that path after they've left a long-term relationship. So, who better than to
Bless you.
thank you. Let's edit that out. Um, who better to talk to than a sex therapist about
Right.
that? So I hope people get something out of
Ooh.
goodness. I hope people they find this helpful, and I know that Blue is herself available for folks for
Mhm.
coaching. I think she said.
Yeah, for coaching. She is a therapist, but
Yeah.
for this type of stuff, she's more in a coach role because for actual therapy, you have to be state licensed,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So,
So she can't go outside of her home state. That makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Um, as we were talking to her, I was just really thinking about like, now that we're like in our 40s and
Mhm.
thinking about how much the world has changed since, our sort of formative years.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe it's my worldview that has changed and not the world. I don't know. I mean, the world definitely has
The
changed,
world has definitely changed, and
I,
online dating has changed the world of dating. And I think for sure.
yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean, in the 1990s, where would you meet someone? You'd go to a bar, or I mean, I guess,
A New Kids on the Block concert.
2000s, New Kids on
Just
the
kidding.
Block. um, but you'd have to like find people in the
The
world,
world.
and
Yeah.
now it's like it's almost it's on. It can be on your phone next to DoorDash, like.
Right. And yeah, and I'm
um,
not sure if it's better or worse, but I mean, I think the pool opens up, right? I met
yeah,
my
but
husband on Tinder, my now husband, my second husband.
that's
Did
how
you
you
know
guys
that?
met.
We met on Tinder, yeah.
That's really cool, actually. Well, and then we have another friend who was on a different dating app, and she just got married to her second husband,
That's
who
true.
is an absolute gem.
Oh, absolute.
Um,
Love him.
I do love him.
And I'm like a pretty strong man hater, so if I really like someone, it's if I like a man, he must be like very good because
How does your husband feel about that?
oh, he understands. He knows.
Yeah, yeah. No, I give my mom an earful about the opposite sex often, so
Hmm.
maybe that might be. I don't want to call myself a man hater because I don't want to hate
I
men.
yeah.
I don't want to, but sometimes they give me good reasons.
Mm-hmm. I don't hate all men, but I mean, I use it like in a humorous, like, whatever way. But there are often times where I'm not a bit, and I do recognize that, like, I am in a bubble of women mostly going through divorces or through divorces. So I
Yeah.
understand that I am like, it's like I think about one of my cousins was worked on Life Flight,
Yeah.
like was a nurse on Life Flight for
The
a couple years.
helicopter.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
helicopter like ambulance basically, and she's amazing, like such a amazing
Yeah.
job, and she's amazing. Um, but I remember when she was doing that, she kind of like she only saw the worst of the worst all the time. So she was like
Oh,
everything would like freak her out, I think. So I
that's
feel like
really
I'm
tough.
biased
Yeah.
in certain ways, and I recognize that. But I don't hate all men, I will say. Just a lot of them.
There are some really great men out
There
there,
are. There
and
are.
I think they're all married. Just a hunch. But yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking about that song Sabrina Carpenter just came out with Man Child, and like they're
Mm,
those definitely exist, and I think that just hearing stories from friends who've met people on dating apps, there's a lot of them there,
hmm.
right? And
What do you think about? I think we were talking about this the other day, but um, the whole like red flag thing.
I think it's important to talk about that and to be I mean maybe we've overcorrected on that space, but
Mm.
like we didn't talk about red flags when I was 21 years
Well,
old
there
and
wasn't
because
that
let me tell you
language.
what, if I knew about red flags
Oh
and
my
like
God.
and was
Yeah.
given like a list of red flags, my life would have turned out very different.
I would say like I might be a red flag though. Like to certain people, I may be a red
Oh,
flag.
I mean, I think we all have
We all have.
like things to work on, and
Right.
but we'll talk about this in the episode about sort of how you know not only do you need to be thinking about like you need to be thinking about what's important to you, not just about like the list of like you know career and
Mhm.
checking the boxes and all that other stuff.
Right.
How does this person make you feel? How are you experiencing them?
Hmm.
And like that wasn't, I don't feel like that was part of the conversation 25 years ago.
Definitely not.
And it's important. It's
It is
important.
important.
When you're choosing a partner, this is someone you're going to be sharing your life with, and you deserve to get as much fulfillment out of the partnership, which is what it ought to
Hmm.
be,
Hmm.
as your partner does. Like
Hmm.
it should be.
I just realized something.
What's that?
So like the way so I might have to edit this, but um how my first husband made me feel, I'm not even talking about intimacy, sexual, whatever, was always like less than. And how my husband now makes me feel is like I'm amazing.
I love that.
And like to him, like he thinks I'm amazing. Whether I
We
do or not
ought to
doesn't
think you're
matter.
amazing
Yeah,
because
I
you
mean,
are, but
fair,
also,
but
yeah.
you know what I'm saying. And so that's such a different like basis for your relationship. Like if it starts there, like how they make you feel even about yourself, or
Yeah.
they just make you feel in general, and whether, my ex-husband or not purposely did that, just over time, whatever. But just having that like basic feeling like that this person thinks you're freaking awesome, like, is a big deal.
That has to be a game changer because I also, whether it was conscious or not on his part, was
Hmm.
often feel like made to feel like the second class citizen, and that like
Hmm.
my I don't want to say my needs and wishes came second, right?
Hmm.
And um I think I'm still trying to like figure out what if I was to have another partner, what that would look like.
Right.
And you know, how I should expect to feel when I know I've found someone.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I haven't worked that out.
Well, I think it's a process too.
Yeah.
And like the feelings that, and again, like I'm saying, like whether it was intentional or not doesn't really matter at this point.
Yeah.
It's just how it made me feel.
Yeah.
And it still comes up. I mean, this is years later, and I can
Yeah.
still sometimes like feel that come up and be like, oh God, that was from me years of feeling that way.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's funny. I'm going to be really vulnerable for a minute to say
Hmm.
that, I was out a couple weeks ago with two of the awesome girls from our group, and they're, we all sort of went through our divorces around the same time, and
Hmm.
they're both in like relationships,
Hmm.
and we're sitting at dinner, and I was just like, I need to know from you guys because I just haven't been ready yet. But like, how did you how did you let yourself open up to someone else? Like
Hmm.
how do you do that? I don't know how to
Right.
do that.
Right.
And am I just like, am I too afraid? Or
Hmm.
and I think that they were, the advice that I got, and I welcome your thoughts on this, is like,
Hmm.
if you were to meet the right person, you'd be okay
Hmm.
and comfortable and safe opening up. And I'm like,
Right.
I don't know about this.
I think it's true. And I think, yeah, I think that advice is true. And I also think you being aware of that, being, I think problem's too strong a word, or a place where you're struggling, maybe,
Yeah.
um, is fair and important. Like, if you recognize that that's a place where, you know, that you're having trouble opening up for completely valid reasons,
Yeah.
like,
Like the
that's
thought of
okay.
even opening myself up, I think, is like the red light is like maybe
Yeah,
that's
and
my
why
red
wouldn't it
flag.
be? Yeah, because I mean, to be fair to you and self-deprecating to me, like I feel like I was for mine, like I found my new husband pretty quickly after my divorce,
Yeah.
and honestly, maybe too quickly,
Mm.
and too quickly in my healing process. And luckily it worked out. Um, But I mean, there were a lot of messy parts because I was not really ready for a relationship then.
Messy parts in terms of your relationship with
Mhm.
him, as you would have.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
messy parts in terms of like being able to open up for all of those things. Like it was very, like I had found him, we got along so well, like we were able to just like talk in like in a different way than, and like had like such a strong friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Like I liked hanging out with him. So like I wanted to keep, I wasn't planning when I was dating, like at that time when I was dating, I had zero expectations of being in a relationship, and then it just like sort of organically happened because We just really liked being together.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like when it was happening, I'm like, oh my God, this was not the plan. You know, like in my brain, I mean, and I didn't even say that like out loud, but like my brain was like, not safe, not okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there
Mm-hmm.
was, I mean, even still, sometimes, you know, it's like a challenge. I think when you've been through a divorce, whether, I mean, and ours are different, but, you know, all of that pain, that betrayal, sometimes not in our cases, but um, all of those different things that come, like, of course they're going to be part of your story. They're part of who you are. So
Yeah.
it changes who you are for the next one. And,
Yeah.
and sometimes in really great ways, and
I think
sometimes
it
not.
changed me in so many ways, but like
Yeah.
mostly for the better, you know?
Oh,
And
100% agree.
I realized that this, like, for lack of a better word, like the fortress that I've built around myself is has a purpose,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And to you know, protect me from going through that again because I don't really want to do that again. I mean,
No thanks.
not just a divorce, but like the heartbreak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah. Should we read our quote?
We should.
We've
I
talked
feel
for
like
a long
it's,
time.
I know, we did.
Luckily it's a
We're
short
very
quote.
chatty today.
We are very chatty. I'm not sure who this is attributed to, but it says your absolute best won't be good enough for the wrong person. At your worst, you'll still be worth it to the right person. Remember that. Oh my God, how well does that fit into what we just talked about? And that was
So
like
perfect.
kind of like accidental,
Yeah.
at least
Which
for
is
me.
always the best, right?
Yeah.
And really goes well with this episode.
Yes. Yes. So we hope you enjoy our um, very calming conversation with Blue.
Bye. We are so excited today.
I may be a little bit nervous.
Super nervous, nervous excitement. We have Blue here today, and we're going to talk about intimacy and everything that kind of goes along with that. I think it's a huge topic in your transitioning from being a married person to a divorced person, and so many different parts of that. So we're so excited to have you. Like Ali said, we're very nervous, but we're excited. Um, can you share with us like a little intro?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So I'm Sky Blue Cutchy, but you can call me Blue. And I am a certified relationship, intimacy, and sex therapist. And I've been doing this work for about 7 years, a little bit over 7 years now. And I've worked with couples. And currently I'm focusing on helping women in my coaching business, which is called Intimacy with Blue. And I support women in becoming more sexually empowered so that you can have better sex and intimacy in your life. And when I say intimacy, I mean like emotional intimacy,
Mhm.
physical intimacy that doesn't necessarily have to be sexual, but like encompassing all of that. And I'm on a mission to help folks normalize this conversation around sex and intimacy because I think, like here in America, that's where I live, there's a lot of taboo around the topic.
Absolutely.
There's a
Absolutely.
lot of fear and anxiety and like ick,
Yeah.
and especially for women.
And
There,
I think, I don't know if you would agree with this, but I think especially for mothers, I think mothers a lot of times are held like in a judgmental way about their sexuality or you're a mother, you shouldn't be like that. You know, so
Like
I
a
think it can
scarlet
be,
letter, Jill.
yeah, oh
Yeah.
for sure. So I think it's a really important topic and it's a big thing when you're getting divorced because oftentimes you've been in a relationship for a really long time. Probably there were intimacy issues in that relationship, whether it's you, whether it's him, whether it's both, whatever. And then you're coming out of this along with everything else that's changing. your foundation is changing, and what your future relationships are going to look like is a big
Mhm.
challenge for women.
Yeah, what you mentioned is a really interesting point. As mothers, I'm hearing you say that like mothers almost get like desexualized.
Yes.
Like
Absolutely.
you're not supposed to be sexy anymore because you're a mom.
Well, and
Right.
not even that you're not.
Mom
I
jeans.
mean, yeah, you can't. Yeah, your mom jeans. Oh, the kids say I have mom jeans. It's so hurtful. um, Not even that you're not supposed to be, but like the act, especially when your kids are really little, of being like in the trenches of having a toddler, or having little kids and stuff, it is not sexy.
Mm.
So like you oftentimes when you're coming out, you're like, I don't even know who I am, like baseline, never mind sexually, never mind anything else.
Hmm.
So, what would you say to a woman that's there right now?
Well, first of all, I would say that makes so much sense,
Yeah.
right? Being pregnant, giving birth, raising children, like that is a full-time job, and that is so exhausting, and you give so much of
Mm-hmm.
yourself
Hmm.
Yes.
physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually to your children.
Right.
Um, and it's just so draining, so tiring. Of course, you probably don't feel like you have more to give, and I use those words on purpose because a lot of women feel like they have to give their partner
Hmm.
sex and intimacy,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
um, because a lot of women were taught that that
Hmm.
is our job.
Right.
It's a duty, it's an obligation
Yeah.
to give a male partner sex and intimacy because he needs it, and I say that in air quotes. If you're there, it makes a lot of sense if you feel that way, and I have a lot of compassion for you.
Hmm.
So, along with that, being a mom, it's likely that when you got married or when you partnered up, you were probably younger. Maybe it was before kids. And
Hmm.
our bodies, as we age, change, but also having kids, our bodies are different. And so I could imagine that many women feel anxiety or shame around not looking the way that they did when they were 20, which none of us do, right? I mean, it's some
Mm.
of that I think is the societal pressure, right? To lose the baby weight or, but even with that, it's just,
Mm.
things move around and shift. And as you get older, your body carries weight maybe differently. Like, how do you work with patients who have those challenges? And I can imagine that could be a barrier to being intimate.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the big ones. There's so much to this, there's so much to say. And I can relate on a personal level, like growing up in a family that's very fat phobic. I grew up with a lot of messages. One of my earliest memories was my great grandmother talking about my little thighs, how fat my thighs were.
Yeah.
And that really stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't wear shorts until I was in like my 30s because
Hmm.
I had such a hang up about the size of my thighs. So
Mm.
I really relate to this, and I think a lot of women struggle with all these social messages of like what
Totally.
a perfect female body is supposed to look like, and perfect in air quotes.
Yeah.
It's really damaging thinking that we have to look a certain way to deserve to feel sexy.
Hmm.
And a lot of us women are so concerned with how others are perceiving our body.
Hmm.
Hmm.
It causes so much shame and so much shutdown. And of course, it affects how we show up in a sexual, intimate relationship. Because for me, like my body used to be a different size. I was a bigger body back then, and I would totally shut down. And my partner and I, we had to go to couples therapy
Mm.
because he wanted more sex and I wanted it too, but he'd said some stuff that hurt me. It's this whole cycle, which I think is such a common story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a journey around loving yourself and your body right now. And then also for the partner to think about like where does he get these ideas around what a sexy body looks like?
Hmm.
Interesting. Yes.
And is he willing to kind of shift that paradigm? Is he willing to look at people of all sorts of bodies and find attractive stuff in other kinds of bodies? So my point is it's work for both people.
And what about for perhaps the woman who wants to be putting herself out there, but is just needing the confidence, I think, to know that there isn't one attractive body type, right? I think that having grown up, especially in the 1990s when all the models were real thin, that's what you were seeing in magazines. That can really distort how someone views their own body. And do you have thoughts on how someone could help build their confidence around that?
I really believe that it comes from within. If we spend our whole lives wanting that validation from other people, yes, of course, we want validation from other people. That feels nice. We're also social creatures, so like we look out for that type of validation. So that's normal and valid. But if we're only concerned with what other people are thinking, we're going to be sorely disappointed. We might never find confidence if we're relying on something we can't control.
Right.
So what we can control is what's within us.
But
And
how do you like tap into that? Like, for example, when you're in a like really long-term relationship and then you're all of a sudden single, right? Or you're single and then you're like, I have not dated, and so like and then you're like, okay, I need to work on my confidence, which I think women do like take the time in between relationships way more often, and I think it's so valuable for them to be able to do that because it does give them time. But how do you even get started? Like, you recognize maybe I need to work on my confidence around this, whatever, but where do you start?
that's a great question. So what I recommend is starting small.
Yeah.
And what that means is starting from a place of gratitude and appreciation. You don't have to focus on the aesthetics.
Okay.
So, for example, I could say to myself, and I recommend doing this every day, at least once a day, I really appreciated that my legs walked me to the grocery store and back
Yeah.
so that I could feed my kids with those groceries. I really appreciated that my lungs like really helped me like fast walk today. You could look at something small on your body that you genuinely feel either neutral about or you kind of like. So like my little pinky is cute. I have a
You do have
cute
a super
little
cute
pinky.
pinky.
Thank you. I have
I
tiny
I don't
pinky.
have to validate it, but it is cute.
So it could, like I really like this right eyebrow. I like the shape of it.
Right.
So you're saying something kind to yourself or something appreciative.
Right.
Because if you're living every day thinking, oh, I hate this and I don't like that and this is sagging, and that is going to make us feel so negative towards our body.
Right.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes total sense.
It's sort of obvious, but still important to point out because
Yes.
I think so many of us do get into that habit of finding the flaws, right, in quotes, and focusing on those where, there may be far more beautiful things about you that you just know looking at because you're so focused on the perception of the flaws.
Yeah. And I will say if you find yourself still having negative critical thoughts about yourself, like just say to yourself, wow, I'm having these really critical thoughts about my body right now. I'm just going to notice that instead of like, why can't I be better? That's also not going to help.
Right.
Right.
Just be like, wow, I'm just noticing that I'm having those thoughts right now. Would I like to be having different kinds of thoughts? Yeah, I'm going to like say something nice to myself now. So you're not bullying yourself either.
I love that. It's almost like not even in a negative way, but calling yourself out on it because I'm very good at self-negative talk. I mean, everyone knows this situation. You would never talk to your friend how you talk to yourself. Would you talk to your friend like you say things to yourself?
No.
Never. Never.
Your inner critic is like the meanest of all the
Hmm.
people. At least, maybe I should speak for myself, but
Or, yeah, no. I mean, definitely.
And then, since we're talking to moms, I think this is really important. The things that you say about your body out loud around your kids
Yes,
is going to impact them.
Yeah.
100%.
So, if you can model to
Careful.
them, like saying things that are more grateful, or I like this little thing about myself, like they're gonna hear that, and then
Yeah,
they'll copy you.
Right.
interesting. Okay.
I know
Mm-hmm.
that's such an important piece of it,
Yes.
definitely. I mean, I'd like to think that I don't talk negatively about my body in front of my daughter or like out loud in front of her, but I'm sure there have been instances where I have, and I can see where that's
The other
not.
thing I find challenging is if you, for example, have lost weight and like someone comments on it in front of your kids, that's an awkward
Mm-hmm.
moment where you don't want to make it a thing, but I don't know. It's just another moment I'm mindful of. I got married before there was such a thing as a dating app, and now the world has changed a lot in the last 20 years in terms of what relationships look like, right? I think when I got married, like same-sex marriage was just becoming a thing, right? And now I feel like you've got not just that, but like a spectrum of people are polyamorous, or
Mm-hmm.
there are a number of different ways to define relationships in this day and age, and
Mm-hmm.
it's uh, a learning curve to understand what the landscape looks like. And I think that someone who is like me coming out of that era, right, it could be kind of overwhelming to be like, where do I even fit into this? Because I was just used to being like one person. And I'm sure there's still plenty of people who still see a relationship that way, but do you see folks who come in sort of in that like bewildered, like what even is this world now?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's overwhelming. And the dating apps is like a whole thing. It's because it's so new and it was like all of a sudden like in the world, and we're just kind of learning about how it's affecting dating and marriage and like finding a partner. I've actually read something recently that was like people are burned out from dating apps, which is really interesting. But I think what I would recommend for women is like asking themselves a lot of questions about dating. Why do I want to date right now? What's your motivation?
Right.
Is it to have fun? Is it to find a long term partner? Is it to have casual sex because you want to experiment and you've never done that before?
Right.
Like, why are you doing it? And no judgment, but just
Right.
like get
No.
clear.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, get clear on why you want to do it. And then I would ask yourself, like, how do I want to feel when I'm with a person? So, like, when you're on a date, continuing to check in with yourself. How am I feeling in this moment?
Mm-hmm.
How is my body feeling in this moment?
Mm-hmm.
Because your body will give you red flags, right? If you're feeling anxious in your body, or if you're feeling small,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
you're like, oh, I need space from this person. Like, really listen to what your body is telling you. Did you feel attractive in front of that person? Did you feel like you could laugh with this person? A lot of women are like I want this, 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 and this, and they have a checklist of the person they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, but also turn that eye inwards and like,
Right.
what are you experiencing, and what do you want for yourself?
Yes.
Because I think that part's really important.
It is really important. A lot of women my age were raised to sort of be good enough and please the other person and not really think about
Yeah.
how they are affected by the other person, and that you deserve to have agency about what you want, right? And beyond like the job and does he have a car and whatever thing, what is this person, this human being in front of you, right? What is it like to experience them? I like what you said there.
What would you say for women who maybe are making that connection with someone, but are maybe a little nervous to move forward with intimacy because of maybe trust issues? How do they move past that to get to the next level with someone after being a mom? being divorced, all of
Mm.
that stuff. What can they do to help them move forward?
That's a great question. Allie, what you were just talking about, I call the good girl complex, which I have totally lived through as well. You know, a lot of women are taught, like, make the other person happy, make sure they're comfortable, take care of their needs, give them what they want. And what that does is it stops women from working their what do I want muscle. That's what I call it. So, to your question, Jill, I really recommend that you start working your what do I want muscle.
Before
And
it's atrophied.
because it's
Do they
atrophied,
come back? Yeah.
they do. So, it's like going to the gym.
Right.
You go to the gym for the first time and you're gonna do the 2 pound dumbbell,
Hmm.
right? You
Hmm.
start small
Yeah.
and then you work your way up and you get stronger and you learn new skills. The what do I want muscle works that way too.
I love that.
And it's really important that you work this muscle so that you understand what you want, what you
Right.
desire, what you think, how you feel.
Hmm.
So when you're dating for the first time again and you're like, you can be in touch with what do I want?
Right.
I want to take it slow,
Right.
and that's okay,
Hmm.
right? You have the
Or I
right.
don't want to take it slow.
Right. Or you're like, I am ready for this.
Right.
I want to
Keep
have lots of
going. Yeah.
sex.
Right.
Like, that's okay too. Like, the point is that you know what you want.
Do you have a lot of women? I mean, I can imagine this only because I even feel this way or definitely felt this way after my divorce. Is like, I don't even know what I want. I would imagine that you come in contact with a lot of people that feel that way.
A
Like,
lot.
yeah.
Many. That's probably one of the top challenges people face,
Hmm.
especially women, is like, I don't know what I want. I've
Right.
never thought about it before. I've never been allowed to think about it before.
Right.
And
Or I've never
again,
even allowed myself to like not even giving it the that to society or to men or to whatever, but like I have not even allowed myself to think about that. Like,
yeah. Hmm. And I'll say that I was there,
hmm,
like in my marriage. I met my partner in high school,
hmm,
and we've been together ever since.
hmm,
So for many, many years, I was super codependent, and it was all about him and what he wanted and how he felt, and like I had no identity.
hmm.
So
Right.
I had to work my what do I want muscle,
Right.
and it takes time and practice.
Hmm.
But you can figure it out over time. It just takes practice, and it does require you to allow yourself to explore it.
Hmm.
What do you mean by that? Allow yourself to explore it.
So, for example, he was like, "What do you want for dinner?" And I'm like, "I don't know. What do you want?" And he'd be like, "Well, I would really like you to tell me your opinion." And I'm like, "I don't know. I haven't thought about it. What do you want?" I was scared to make him unhappy. So, allowing myself the freedom to just express, and if he was unhappy with it, knowing that it's okay.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
right.
okay. It's not a crisis.
Right.
We can want different things. So, allowing myself that space.
Right.
Yeah, right. Wanting different things for dinner is far different from wanting things in life. Different things in life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do say to people especially when I work with couples, is like talking about sex, for example, and
Hmm.
when you want different things in your sex life, it can be as easy as talking about dinner if you allow it to be.
Mm.
Very interesting. So speaking of sex, I'm wandering into the land of uncomfortable.
That's okay.
Um, Talk a little bit about what you find with some women who, they come out of a long marriage, they're in their, maybe their 40s or their 50s, and um, you know, coming to experience that with someone new and must feel very different than like, you know, you've been eating a certain flavor of ice cream for 20 years and now you try something different. What has that experience been like for some of your clients? How do you typically see that go?
I think a lot of women feel nervous.
Right.
They're scared. I think it really depends on their background.
Sure.
You know what?
So,
I mean, I'm obviously not a professional like you, but I've been doing my support group for 5 years now. It's definitely a spectrum, but I see oftentimes it's either they want to like get dating, or have sex pretty quickly, like when they're done with their relationship, or they want a really long time to heal. And I don't think either way. I'm not judging either way. Um, but it seems like it's sort of two ends of the spectrum. Either has pros and cons, right? Which is
Yeah.
just like anything in life. Um, but from what I've seen, it seems like they either go one way or the other.
it's fine, like you said.
Yeah, again, not a judgment on.
Yeah.
I think either way can be fun or healing or whatever. It's not something that I would have known if I hadn't been around so many women that are going through this process. I think there is judgment on themselves either way sometimes. I think sometimes if they're too quick to them, not to me. I think go have sex if you want to have sex, I don't care. But I think there's judgment on themselves if they're like, oh, it was so fast. And then they have to like sort of be like, but my marriage was dead for years. And so like they have to like explain it. And I'm like, you don't have to explain it to me. Like we'll joke about like the whole phase or something, like kiddingly, like only in humor, not in judgment.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also women who are like, coming out of divorce. A lot of times it's, I would say, a more abusive situation where they just are like,
Dramatic.
no way can I even think about that.
Well, and I think too, coming out of a situation, whether it's abusive emotionally or emotionally and physically, or the variety of things, I
Yeah.
think it could be hard to be open to letting somebody in and making yourself vulnerable, right?
Right.
And so, Blue, if you can speak to, what kind of work does the person have to do to make themselves feel sturdy enough to be that vulnerable?
Mm, yeah, so it sounds like it's about safety,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
right? Feeling safe
Vulnerability.
emotionally.
Yeah. Safety. Yeah.
Yeah, feeling safe in your body. Like if you have an abusive background, sometimes touch and your body don't feel safe anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's totally understandable.
Yeah.
I would recommend, if that's your background, seek some support, like
Right.
support groups, therapists. It's okay if you need that type of support and you've been through a lot.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're feeling safe in your body and with touch before you jump into sex and intimacy, because if you jump into sex and intimacy when you're not feeling safe and you're just doing it anyway, you
Right.
might actually accidentally be re-traumatizing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't
Good.
want that.
Yeah, so safety, like and generally that's something that you might need support with.
Yeah. I mean, we think. I mean, I don't want to speak for Allie, but I mean, I think everyone needs a therapist. I think when you get a
Oh
pediatrician,
yeah.
you get a therapist. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's just so important. Like, it's your mental health. So I think, and especially going through these type of scenarios, like, get the most support you can get. Like,
Absolutely.
if it's ever a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, Blue, where would a sex therapist be helpful to someone who is coming out of a long relationship? Maybe the sex life wasn't great,
Mm-hmm.
and they're still figuring out. Back to Jill. There's what you want and what you like in a person, and then there's the separate, you know, what you want and what you like in terms of that maybe you weren't getting, or maybe you don't even know. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
how would you suggest someone try and figure that out?
Yeah, I think people come to see me for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah.
Like I've worked with some women because of their backgrounds. For example, if they come from a very strict religious background, they might feel that dating and relationships are not very safe. or that sex is not very safe. And so I've supported women with that type of thing. Or women who are like, I don't feel a lot of shame around sex, but I still feel like kind of obligated to have sex. And that's like a big turn off, and I don't like it. I've supported women with that type of thing.
Yeah.
Or like, I I'm grieving a divorce, but I want a partner and I just don't know how to do this and it's hard. Like, you can get support for that.
Yeah.
All sorts of intimate relationships, sex reasons, all of those are great reasons to see a sex therapist.
Do you think also a sex therapist, even if you're kind of moving past the part where um, you're nervous about it, but like to kind of reclaim like I think one of my favorite parts about working with divorced women is them reclaiming themselves like as a human. Um, and getting to be a part of or watching that experience for them. I don't necessarily know as much about like their sexual, I mean, whatever they share is what they share, but like is that part of what you could see a sex therapist for, like reclaiming your sexuality? Like that could be so
Absolutely.
empowering. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, like I said, my favorite thing is helping women feel empowered
Right.
in their sexuality and reclaiming their desire, their libido, their pleasure in life in and out of the bedroom.
Right.
Because if we're struggling to feel pleasure outside of the bedroom, it's really hard to feel pleasure inside the bedroom.
Right. For sure.
Yeah, so absolutely. Just wanting to feel more alive, to explore your erotic energy, like those are great reasons to see a sex therapist.
Can we talk a little bit about men in their 40s and 50s? We've been speaking a lot from like the perspective of the woman, but I would imagine if you're in a hetero relationship, you're going to be meeting this new guy. They might have their own insecurities about their different body because, we all change as we're getting older, right? Well, I'm thinking about like all the commercials we see, like there are men who obviously may struggle in the bedroom. And how do you advise clients to navigate that experience? Because that I could see being maybe it's not a new thing. Maybe they experienced that in their marriage, but others maybe hadn't, especially if they weren't having sex at all. Uh, that could be a new thing for someone. How do you help them navigate that?
Yeah. So as we age, our body ages and the circulatory system ages. So as a man or a person with a penis gets older, um, most of the time, and there's a lot of layers to this, like health issues or
Yeah,
medication or body size. They can all affect circulatory system stuff. So it's really common that erections get harder to like have or maintain. But that's normal.
Right.
right.
I just want to say that it's totally normal. Happens to everybody. And I think something that might be helpful for women to hear is that if a man is having a hard time getting an erection, does not mean he's not attracted to you.
Yeah. I
Helpful,
can see
important
that
to
being a
hear.
big,
Yeah.
They're not correlated.
right. It's a medical
It
issue.
could be a medical thing or a mental thing. If a guy
Right.
is really anxious about, because men, there's a lot of performance anxieties that guys have. Because they get told you have to have this rock hard erection the whole time, and if you
Right.
don't, you're not a man. So a lot of
Right.
guys get in their head and they're like, oh, I have to keep it hard the whole time. And then what happens? It goes away.
Right.
Or it gets hard to even achieve an erection in the first place. So it's not about you as the woman. It's not because he's not attracted to you.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the first thing I would say. And the second thing I would say is like, I would, to help a partner who's struggling with erections, just be like, normalize it for him. Be like, no big
Yeah.
deal. We can still have fun in all these other ways. You can have sex or intimate moments without erections. Hands, toys, cuddling, sensual showers, massages, oral sex, anal stuff, like that have nothing to do with erections, and it still feels great.
Mm-hmm.
So if we take the pressure off, oftentimes a guy might even get an erection because now he's relaxed.
That's actually a very good question and an important topic because it is a relevant topic for our demographics for sure. I mean, it's just like you said, it's an aging and normal thing that happens, and
Right.
you know, for men feeling bad about it, and then also for women feeling like he's not attracted to me or something. I can see that being a really challenge to intimacy, like emotional intimacy too. But it can also be a way you could build intimacy, I think, being able to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
And then, like on this topic, which is great,
Hmm.
I really encourage people to kind of expand your minds. Like, this is a question I would ask a client.
Hmm.
What does sex mean to you?
Mm,
When I say, what does sex look like? What do you imagine?
Right.
Because a lot of people,
Hmm.
especially in America, when we ask that question,
hmm.
we think of penis and vagina penetrative sex.
Right.
Right.
That's sex. And that's one thing. That's a sexual act.
Hmm.
Right.
But it's not the whole thing. So the metaphor I like to use is a meal. If you eat the same meal every single night, meat and potatoes and bread,
Hmm.
we might get bored of
Hmm.
that over time.
Hmm.
But there's actually this whole buffet with all of these fun different choices.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That's like sex. There's a lot of sex can look like anything you want it to look like.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And who says sex can't just be cuddling and dry humping on the couch? Why
Hmm.
not? If that's fun and that feels good to you, why not?
Right.
Huh. It's so funny because I think that as a society, right, the example you gave in the beginning is really the been the sort of the definition, and it's interesting that all of those other things that are sexual acts, right, are not classified maybe in that same way, but why not?
Right. Yeah, I like the idea of like opening your mind a little bit about that, like, or a lot. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be meat and potatoes. But
Mm-hmm.
it also doesn't have to be like crazy either. I think sometimes you're scared, I think, or maybe, I don't know, like that it's too uncomfortable. Like it doesn't have to be either. Like you can always stay within your comfort zone and like explore there first.
Of course. Yeah, a healthy sexual intimate relationship relies on consent.
Right.
Hmm.
So if there's any part of you that's like, I don't want that thing, or I'm too scared to try it, that's okay. You have the right to say no or not right now, and that's totally fine.
Hmm.
Yeah, it ought to be, right? I mean,
Right.
if it's not fine, that's another conversation, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what I would say to women who are dating after divorce is like, if a person tries to pressure you into something you're saying no to, like,
Hmm.
that's,
Hmm.
that's a red flag,
Yeah.
right? You
I
have
do
the
kind
right
of
to say
love this red flag. I don't know. I go back and forth about it actually. Like the talking about red flags. I think it's kind of awesome because like it helps people identify things that don't work for them
Hmm.
in a different way than it like we didn't have red flags when I was dating.
Yeah, I think it's
At the same
long
point, it's like
overdue,
so
right?
quick. Yeah,
Yeah.
but also like on the same like it's like red flag. I'm like I am a red
Oh,
flag.
yeah. I mean, I think that they're yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes
Like I
we're a
feel
little
like
bit too.
sometimes it dismisses someone too
Hmm.
quickly.
Yeah.
Mm.
But also sometimes it identifies things that don't work for you really quickly. So it's figuring that piece out that's, I think, challenging.
That's funny. Yeah, maybe it's like a green, yellow, red flag
Right.
system.
I have heard green flag too, which I think is cute. Right. Well,
Yeah.
we love you. So we
Thanks.
appreciate your work because it's such important work. I
It
mean,
is.
it's
It
a
is.
big part of everyone's life and women in particular.
How would
You know,
someone find Blue? I don't know how large the community is of sort of sex and intimacy therapy, but how would someone find someone like you if they're looking for someone who can help them?
So I'm a certified sex therapist through the American Association of Sex Education Counselors and Therapists, and they have a registry.
Okay, great.
So I can give you that link if you'd like to give it to the listeners. Yeah, I'm in Washington State, so I can do therapy in Washington State,
Okay.
but I provide intimacy coaching for women globally.
Okay, great.
very cool.
So
Yeah,
I'm
so on the show notes for this show, we will have your link. And if you want to add the registry, if somebody maybe feels more comfortable meeting people in person, I mean, for me, I
Mhm.
prefer never to leave my house, but some people like to meet in person.
Yeah.
So maybe we can add that too. But I think what an awesome resource you are for people. So
Mhm. Thank you. Yeah, and I do have a free Facebook community
Excellent. We can
for
link that
women.
too.
If anyone's curious and you just want to dip your toe in and see what's going on in my community, I can give you the link for thriving women in relationships as well.
yes,
Awesome.
definitely.
This was
Hmm.
really cool. Thank you
I
so much
know, and
for
it wasn't
taking the
as
time.
scary as I thought it was going to be.
It's because Blue is
What I thought it
amazing.
was going to
Of
be.
course, she put us right at ease.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so
No, I
glad.
love your voice. You're very calming.
Soothing.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. And you were so brave. So brave. You like inviting me here and like having this conversation. I
Right.
really appreciate it.
We
Thank you
appreciate
so
you.
much.
Of course. Thank you.